Privatised water companies are escaping scrutiny from the UK regulator inquiry fines. I'm going to read into this more from the Financial Times, you guys. Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here with an article from the Financial Times with the headline that privatised water companies have escaped scrutiny from the UK regulator. The inquiry finds Ofwat has limited mechanisms to check whether infrastructure investment has been carried out. Unfortunately, too much to the infuriation, none of us really should be surprised by this. If this is surprising to you, then I'm sorry to disappoint you, but this is something that unfortunately really doesn't surprise me for 1 second, because the water companies haven't been doing nowhere near enough when it comes to improving the infrastructure ever since they've been privatised. Ever since they've been privatised, it's just been getting worse and worse for us. And our water bills have consistently gone up and up and up. And guess what? They're going up hugely significantly this year. And what's being done about it? Nothing is being done about it. The argument is that the increase in water bills will go towards improving infrastructure and that, and they said they will make sure that there are checks and balances to make sure that has happened. Well, so far there's been no scrutiny. The scrutiny has just been limited. Ofwat has very limited powers, very limited mechanisms, as it says here, to do anything, and this is the problem. This is the thing that I hate the most about it. And you can't allow water companies to go bust, because we need water. We need it as part of our infrastructure. And I hate that private companies have a hold in this, because they cannot fail. They have to succeed, water companies. It's a win-win situation for these private businesses, because they get these big contracts they get this big amount of money from the government in order for them to keep running, and they can control how much we pay for our water to a certain extent as well. And it's really demoralizing in comparison to the water bills in France, for example, where they're significantly cheaper. In majority of other countries, their water bills are much lower. Much lower, because they're controlled by the state. The state runs the water company. They own the water, whereas here we don't. And there is not a serious discussion on the table from this government about nationalising it. There's no discussion about it from the Conservatives. The only political party that's serious about nationalising it is the Green Party, because they see exactly the problem here. Nationalising our water companies is the only solution out of this. We keep anyone who tries to defend this, or saying that it's not the company's fault, it's the regulator, or it's the shareholders, or it's this and it's that. It's always about pointing the finger or blaming the government or something, this, that, and the other. Put it back in the stakeholders' hands. Yeah, let taxpayers' money finance the water companies, because these private companies are just taking the mick. The executives from a lot of these companies are gaining huge amounts of money and huge amounts of bonuses for themselves as well, at the expense of us as well. And we've already had quite a few last year of where water bursts, pipes were breaking down, and people literally had to drive to shops and queue up for hours to get bottles of water and whatnot to be able to have for their home. Like, this is the United Kingdom. This is the UK. This is England, for crying out loud. And we had situations where people had to queue up their own time just to get water. Like, it's ridiculous. It should never happen. It should never happen, considering we're one of the biggest economies on the planet. We're one of the biggest economies on the planet, and yet we can't ensure that we have a suitable water infrastructure system. Britain's privatised water companies are escaping scrutiny by the regulator because there are limited mechanisms for checking whether the utilities are delivering on promised investment, according to an official government report. So water companies are planning to spend £104 billion to maintain and upgrade the system over the next 5 years, including £44 billion of the investment on new infrastructure. But although regulator Ofwat scrutinises water company business plans, they appear to be limited mechanisms for directly checking what has actually been delivered, the 293-page report published by the Department of Environment, Food and Rural Affairs said. This has raised questions over whether money for customers' bills has been used to deliver what is set out in the business plan agreed by Ofwat, the report added. And the findings come ahead of a call for evidence, and it's a part of an inquiry into the water sector led by Sir John Curfling, the former Bank of England Deputy Governor. Billed as the biggest review into the industry since privatisation, the inquiry has ruled out nationalisation. This is the problem. This is why it will never get fixed. And it's likely to focus on regulatory overhaul, with the findings delivered in the summer. Coughlin, chair of the Independent Water Commission, said he did not believe that the problems were the inevitable consequences of privatised regulated company model. That's because you're an idiot. Everything that has gone wrong with our water has been since our water has been privatised. Everything has gone wrong. Everything. Instead, they were due to factors including poor decisions and poor performances by companies, regulatory gaps, policy instability, and a history of ad hoc changes that have left an increasingly complex system that is no longer working well for anyone. The review comes as water companies are under fire for failing to invest adequately in infrastructure, while also paying out $83 billion in dividends and taking on £74 billion in debt, putting pressure on the finances. They know exactly what they're doing. They have no problems having these debts, because they're hoping that the government bows out, because they want taxpayer money to deal with this debt. They don't want to deal with these debts themselves. Thames Water, which serves about a quarter of the UK's population, is fighting a temporary renationalisation under the government's special administration regime. To shore up the sector's finances and deliver infrastructure improvements, Ofwat has approved a record 26% rise in average household bills to £603 this year, marking the biggest annual increase since privatisation. But the report said there was no way of checking whether this would be used to improve infrastructure. Although Ofwat requires companies to self-report annually on metrics, including mains repairs, sewer collapses and unplanned water outages, these only track failures rather than the measures of condition of assets, it said. In addition, companies do not appear to have comprehensive asset maps or asset health information. The replacement rate for infrastructure is also low, the report found. The majority of pipes were built prior to privatisation, and their replacement rate has decreased significantly since 2008. The replacement rate for water mains is 0.1% annually, 10 times lower than that of the European average. 10 times! Again, once again emphasising just how little care these companies care about maintaining our water. They are doing... I'm putting this as clear as I possibly can to people. They are doing the most minimum of work that they can to get away with this. While the replacement rate for waste-around assets is 0.2%, 3 times lower than the European average of 0.6%, according to the report. If companies underspent the money allocated by Ofwat from customers' bills, this was considered an effectivency by the regulator, and the company has got to keep some sort of the savings, the report added. Companies may have historically been incentivized to pursue a short-term, cost-effective approach where assets were only fixed when they failed, rather than proactively maintaining a fixed on fail, the report said. In some cases, the regulator lacked the capability and resources to do their jobs. For example, the Environment Agency is still using legacy IT systems for some functions, the report added. David Black, the chief executive of Ofwat, said it was clear that the water sector needs to change. The Coughlin review is a once-in-a-generation opportunity to help rebuild public trust, it added. And I have no faith in it whatsoever, because they've ruled out nationalisation. Until nationalisation is on the cards, I do not have any faith whatsoever in this report. I believe it will open up some of the damnation of how bad things are, but the fact that they will not put nationalising water on the cards, this problem will never go away. It will not go away. You can argue all you want in the comments with me about the benefits of privatised water company, when we're literally the only country in the world that actually has this as well. I think the last country that I knew was probably Chile. That's about it. I don't even know if they still have private water companies. But still, it's just been an absolute mess. Our water infrastructure is so far behind. It's so far behind. And there's so much work that needs to be done. So much work and so much money. It's insane the amount of work that needs to be done. But they are doing the bare minimum to get by. All the main works, it's just sticky plaster work. It's not proper works. It's sticky plaster works. And hoping that it will be someone else's problem down the road. That's where we're going. It's going to get up to a point where our water crisis is going to get out of control. And I do think that at some point in the future, they're going to have to nationalise our water again. Not because we want to, but because it failed. I think that's where it's going to come to, because I don't know when it's going to happen, but that's why I generally believe it may happen with the direction that we are going. But what do you guys think? What do you guys make of our private water companies escaping scrutiny from UK regulator? Are you surprised by this? Are you not surprised by this? Let me know your thoughts and more on this story down in the comments section below. If you found this video informative or helpful to you in any way, please hit that like button, be greatly appreciated. Share it across social media so others notify this video. If you haven't subscribed already, please consider subscribing because it really does help support the channel. And do check out the Rumble and Patreon content down below as well. And do consider joining the YouTube membership for as little as 99p. The join button is just down below. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.